My husband and I were together for 8 years, 4 years dating, 4 years married, and I decided to move out in February. And do you want to know how many times in the now 3 months that we've been separated that he's begged me to come back, told me how much he loves me, how much he wants to make it work, how much he misses me and our dog? Zero. 0 times has he tried. It actually took less than a week for me, or less than a week from me moving out for him to be on Tinder. So I am just, continuing on, and he obviously doesn't give a shit about me. So with every day that passes, I'm more and more sure of my decision to file for divorce. In my head, my heart is still catching up, but it'll get there. And I think my intention with sharing this with you is just being vulnerable. And maybe the internet isn't always the best place, but in the times that I have chosen to be vulnerable with people are some of the best moments that I've had in making friends, in meeting new people. So I think there is value to sharing what I'm going through, because maybe I can help somebody else not go through the same thing. So yeah, he obviously doesn't want me back, and I'm not going back. So this is my life now.
Hey, shout out to the content creator. Man, you know what? There's a lot that's actually missing from this story. We didn't get any details. We kind of got an overview, which is fine. But let me say this. First and foremost, I agree. There is power in sharing. You get a lot of heavy things off your heart, and allows your spirit to breathe by being vulnerable. So that's first and foremost. Now, sharing on the internet, I don't know, right? That ain't really in my cards. I don't really like putting our business out there, especially when it's something that's so heavy, such as a big separation or divorce. I ain't with that. We still want to keep our business in house. Sharing, hey, went on this cool date, or hey, this something funny my husband said. That's nothing, right? Or hey, this is something we do that's really cool. You can share those type of things on the internet. That's cool. But when it comes to, hey, we breaking up, we getting divorced, because you know what I'm saying, that stuff lives forever on the internet. It doesn't really, quote unquote, help nobody, in my opinion. It's just kind of like you putting all your business out there. That's the first thing I want to say. Now, based on a little bit of information she gave us, as far as hey, we dated for 4 years, we were married for 4 years. I moved out, he hasn't hit me up 0 times. He's reached out, and, he's on Tinder now looking for other dates. Again, we got no nuance on how did y'all get there, right? What caused the catalyst of the breakup? Because here's what I know. For a dude to marry a woman, right, that means he's cutting off every single female that he's ever dealt with, right? He's cutting off access to, a lot. Let me just say that he's cutting off access from a lot. And he's saying, look, I only want you, right? I can see me being with you for the rest of my life, and we building something together. I see that you bring me so much value over all these other women that I'm going to put a ring on it, right? I'm going to be loyal to you. So for a dude to walk away from that, but again, she left, right? That's number one. So for her to leave, he feel betrayed, right? And again, we don't have enough to go off on. Maybe he did something wrong, right? But we don't have any other information. But what we do have is her saying, look, I left, right? And again, she didn't say why she left. But again, the fact that bro on Tinder a week later, that gives us a little bit of insight, right? That gives it a little bit of insight. So that's like him saying, look, man, I ain't even trying to work it out. I'm not going to call this girl. I'm out of here. I'm back in the streets. You know what I'm saying? ASAP. That's what I'm hearing from her. So there had to be something a little bit more deeper going on versus her just saying, we getting divorced and I'm leaving. Right. Again, we didn't get too much from this, but I appreciate her sharing, because a lot of women do. Let me say this really quick. At the very end, she was saying how he didn't hit me up and I don't want him to hit me up. But he ain't checking for me. Listen, she's still hurt. You don't be with nobody for 8-10 years and don't feel no type of way as far as that attachment, right? It sounds like she projecting. She want him to hit him up because she probably want to work it out for real, for real. They probably, again, they got to that breaking point where she felt like she needed to leave the situation. But the first thing she said, when people talk, I always say this all the time, they started telling themselves. The fact that she was like counting days, trying to figure out, why he ain't called, this and that. How she know he was on Tinder? You feel me? How did she know he was on Tinder? So she obviously checking for him, right? But I say that to say maybe she felt like, hey, if I separate and leave, he'll come chasing after me, right? To try to fix it. And a lot of women do that. The success rate, I don't know. Dudes be like, oh, you leaving? Okay. I'll show you better, I can tell you. So yeah, a lot of times that don't work, man. And I ain't saying it never works, but a lot of times it just don't. Dudes like, hey, I'm heart. Dudes be heartbroken too. Don't get it twisted. When you leave, again, they feel betrayed. They feel like you broke the loyalty, you broke the trust. And yeah, man, they try to do things to move on. Right. And don't get it twisted. Like I said, that don't mean that their heart not still attached to that. Because a lot of time when you with somebody that long, it's definitely soul ties. But maybe he got on Tinder just to try to get off and get his mind off of her, and not even try to date to even make something serious. A lot of dudes, a lot of times that do that, they may break up with a woman, and then just go find another woman to just get off with. And that way they can at least try to get their mind off the situation, off that woman. It's a crazy thing that men do, but we do it. But like I said, with that being said, we didn't get a lot, but you can take a lot from it, from what she was saying. So again, nothing wrong with her being vulnerable. I just don't think that, this heavy of a situation with a relationship, you should share it online. Again, she didn't give a super detail. But for the folks who know her, they know her, yeah. So, we don't know her husband's name or whatever, so which is good. You would definitely want to keep that confidential. But, hey, this is every day. This is every day, man. That's just a part of the relationship. Like some people don't work it out. Some people do. They're just part of it. So, but with that being said, I hope y'all got a lot of value from the video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video if anybody need to hear this message. And with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.